Thanks, I appreciate that.
Readers of newsshooter.com will be no strangers to the name Ilya Friedman, especially if they've had an interest in the upcoming Panasonic Lumix GH4. That's a bit of a mouthful. But Ilya has been following the development of this camera pretty closely. He has some links with Panasonic. He was able to talk quite extensively about it in a little Skype interview we did a few weeks back. And it's great to catch up with you in person and maybe pick your brains a little bit more about what seems to be one of the most exciting cameras of 2014 so far. So, Ilya Friedman, I'm sorry, I don't actually know your name. I'm joined by...
My name's Kevin Barsky. I work with Ilya as well.
Okay, and you seem to have some rather interesting looking gadgets for a GH4 over there as well, so we'll get to that in a minute. But, so the camera now looks very real.
Yeah, it is very real. It's come a long way. Thanks so much for having us on here. You want to check that out?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Well, let's let the viewers check it out. In fact, I'm going to give it to you because I can point this camera at it. So this is the real deal.
It is. It is same basic form factor as the GH3. A couple of really nice additions. I really like this one here, which is the lock, which will prevent the mode from being bumped or changed when it's engaged. And it has a new higher resolution LCD screen and OLED viewfinder, and really cool 4K internal recording and uncompressed 10-bit 422 out the HDMI spigot on this camera.
And I mean, I'm not going to dwell too much on the fine detail for the camera, because if anybody wants to find it out, they can go back and rewatch our Skype interview, or they can check out the website. But what you've got right on here now looks to be a pretty impressive cine lens, and this is using one of your adapters? It
is. This is the Hot Rod PL adapter. This is the first professional Micro Four Thirds to PL mount adapter. It's got a shimmable flange, and so you can have 100% accurate focus marks on your lens. It has a support system that isolates any sort of movement on the mount in every direction, rotational and otherwise. And here I've got a Schneider Cine Xenon 100mm full frame prime, so you could use this on just about any lens, or this lens on any camera out there, and it's a great fit with the...
so that's 100mm, but on this camera with the crop factor, I mean, that's pretty long, right? What's that going to
turn? It's still 100mm. So
it's 100mm, I know, but with the crop factor in Super 35, that would be the equivalent of what in terms of
135. It's about one focal length difference, so 1.4 crop between the GH4 and Super 35, which is the real format that everyone is
a lot of people online, as you know, keep rubbishing this camera or this sensor size as being non-cinematic, not good for movie making, not good for indie movie, because it's not 35mm, or it's not full frame, or, so where are you on that?
I think it's kind of ridiculous. You can absolutely get shallow depth of field. You can absolutely get a 35mm cinema look with this. It's about a one focal length difference. It's about a 1.4 crop factor. So really, instead of a 100, maybe it'd be a 140 or something like that. It's not the next closest focal length is 135, but you can definitely get shallow depth of field. You can definitely get the same sort of look that you get from a Super 35 camera.
And are there some specific advantages that you think come with the small sensor?
Yes, it can quite often be difficult to get really great long lenses, and now you have the ability to get a little bit longer. Also, it's possible for manufacturers to make some really, really sharp, really small form factor lenses, which kind of hit the sweet spot. So if, let's say, you can't afford to put on this beautiful cinema lens and a PL mount, Panasonic makes these really delightful.
What's this?
This is a little Leica Panasonic 15mm near pancake lens, and it's a real fast f1.7, and this lens is not terribly expensive, and you can slap it on here, and it completely changes the profile of the GH4, and you're no longer a big cinema sort of application. You can now be a much more lower profile. It completely changes the feel of this, but still the same sensors, still the same great images. It's for working more incognito, or as a still
for a lot of the work I might do doing broadcast news, this is actually now viable. Actually, one of the things to point out about the GH4 for broadcast news, compared to a lot of other small cameras like this, is it actually has interlaced frame rates. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's quite interesting.
It is. It has some other advanced features which are cool too.
Can you just show us this? What have you got going on here?
Of course. So this is the Defy G2 gimbal. This has basically been completely kitted out with a bunch of accessories that we think creates a really awesome package. Currently, right now,
bring it a little closer to the
camera. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So, you want to come over here?
Yeah. So, one of the nicest things.
Okay. All right, I can hold it and you want to.
That's good.
I got it.
Okay.
So
point.
one of the nicest things about this gimbal is it has a kind of a single user run and gun type joystick right here that allows you to run around, point the camera, and not need a second operator with a remote control to go and do your shots. And a lot of people also were finding they want absolute control. If somebody's a cinematographer, they want to grab control of it. They don't want another person to be framing their shots.
It's
not
called the
going
throttle
too much
control.
detail about the actual gimbal itself.
Yeah.
Tell me about how the camera makes this all possible, because a lot of the gimbal rigs you see out there to achieve a decent 4K image is, they're giant. So
exactly. You can put a GH4 camera on here, and you can record compressed internally, or when the Adamus Shogun starts shipping, you'd be able to mount that on here as well and capture a 10-bit image coming out of here.
Yeah, that's the one thing to notice about gimbal rigs is that you don't have to put the recorder on where the camera is. In fact, you don't. You place the recorder where that monitor is currently sitting.
That's
exactly,
right.
because any
just
weight that's
cable it up.
Yeah. Any weight that's above this center motor doesn't matter. That's all on your operator. And it's so you can put all your accessories. You have a little eye light on here, monitor on here. And the nice thing about having a 4K camera on a gimbal is the fact that none of the gimbals can get rid of the up and down motion of walking. And you do a nice heel-toe walk, and you're able to get rid of a lot of it. But with 4K, you're able to do a little bit of post-stabilization and get rid of that last axis and make some really buttery smooth images. And
Yeah, it's
impressive.
true. Yeah.
What's that? What, I'm just curious. There's nothing to do with the camera, but what is that little gadget you have on the left there? It looks a little like a camera. Second camera.
Oh yeah, this right here. This is a Felix light. Is this the P100? Is that
the P100?
P100. Yes. It is a. It's a very
it's
very.
A light. It is a light. It's not another camera.
It is. It's a light.
It just looks like a camera.
Is the battery working on that?
I think we actually might have just run out.
Okay.
But
I didn't know if it was on. Okay, but it is a really high CRI, really high quality, really beautiful bi-color dimmable, and it's got a nice analog dimming control on there, so it's a fun
nice
light.
light to put on a rig like that for running and gunning.
It is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of light on your talent's face.
It is. It's fun.
Excellent. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for GH4s. If people want to find out more about what you're doing with the camera, where do they head to?
HotRodCameras.com, where everything you see here is available as a package or individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Ilya, thanks again.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having us.
This is becoming quite a regular kind of deal, right? So
we should plan on it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for coming on the show. We'll be back in just one moment with G Technology.